Welcome back, everyone. The field of Republicans running for the White House getting ever more crowded, which could bring up the challenge of raising the dough. Louisiana Governor Bobby Jindal will announce whether he's running on June 24th. He already offered up sharp words for the husband of the Democratic frontrunner. Listen to this.
You know, the biggest lie that Bill Clinton ever told was not about Monica Lewinsky. It's when he said that the era of big government was over. Big government is swallowing our country whole. It is time we take our country back.
So I'm joined now by Chris Plante, syndicated radio talk show host, and Leslie Marshall, syndicated radio talk show host and Fox News contributor. Great to see the both of you. So it's all about the dough when you want to run for political office. And it made us wonder at our Real Story meeting this morning, Leslie, whether or not, these candidates can get the dough. There's so many candidates on the GOP side. How do they end up getting the money?
Well, Gretchen, if you look at the dough as a pie, okay, and you have several pieces of the pie, whether pizza pie or cherry pie, you just have smaller slices to go around, and that's going to be more difficult to begin with. And I do want to say, does Bobby Jindal know that Bill Clinton's not running for president, but his wife is? Sorry, I just can't help myself.
She had to get it in.
Monica Lewinsky's name.
Well, it got people's attention if they were listening to his speech, I think. So, Chris, what do you think? What does a candidate need to do to really get the big money?
I want to first say I don't think either one of those were Bill Clinton's biggest lie, but that's a topic for another day. Look, I agree with Leslie that on one level, certainly, there is a finite amount of money that are part of the pie, that is part of the pie, and that's going to be divided up among the various candidates, and the candidates will get a bigger piece or a smaller piece, depending on who they are. But then there's a separate track altogether, and there are people who will give to Bobby Jindal or give to Rick Perry that would never give to Jeb Bush or to Rand Paul. So they all have their own fundraising lanes and organizations that will be there for them. And then there's the big pie. And I think a lot of people may sit it out for a while and see who the nominee is, too.
I'm wondering about that. All right, I want to show you this poll, because how do the American people feel about changes? Are they needed to the way political campaigns are funded? Well, minor changes, 13% say we need minor changes. Fundamental changes, 39%. Completely rebuild, 46%. What does that say, Leslie?
Well, I think this is an area where both Democrats and Republicans can find some common ground. I mean, certainly it seems to be more on the Democratic side, and I think it's why we're seeing Senator Bernie Sanders able to get so much money without taking, the big bucks from the corporate CEOs and the Wall Street types. Here's the problem. At the end of the day, you're looking at Hillary Clinton wanting to raise $1 billion, the type of money that is going to be put into these campaigns, both left and right, and people that want to vote and, in the election for president are going to have no choice. So I think change is going to come about. I think this is the first year, in a sense, beginning that with Senator Sanders and the way he is running his campaign, but it's not going to change overnight.
What do you think about it, Chris? Because I think a lot of Americans are really frustrated because, let's just be frank, you can't run for political office unless you have millions, even $1 billion. It's crazy.
Yeah, the dollar figures are getting pretty crazy. And nobody in their right mind is going to give money to Bernie Sanders, and Hillary's going to gobble up all that Wall Street and CEO money. But that said, I think if you get into more detail with the American people and you ask whether people should be allowed to contribute money to the politician of their choice, and the courts have decided that that does constitute free speech, I think most Americans would come back and, if only grudgingly, agree that people should be allowed to give whatever amount of money they want, more or less, to the political candidate of their choice. So in the big picture, it sounds like a great idea. In the weeds, it gets complicated.
Very interesting take from both of you. Thank you, Chris and Leslie. So you're packed up.